Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Vivian, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy luxury videos about bags and shoes, unboxings, reviews. And if you haven't already connected with me on Instagram and TikTok, I'll leave the link for those in the description bar below. They are Vivi in Vogue, and I post daily content again about bags, shoes, makeup, travel, and all that stuff. So if you like that, let's connect and be friends. Today I have a very highly requested video. So I recently did a Q&A on my Instagram, and thank you everyone that participated in that. It was a lot of fun, and I reckon I had dozens of questions asking me like, what's the best first designer bag to buy? Like, if you could only buy one bag in your life, what would it be? And so many questions from you guys who are either starting their collections or wanting to start their collections or looking to buy like one designer bag that they're gonna have for life, asking me my opinion, which I really appreciate, what I think is the best use of your money. So today I am going to talk about all things starter designer bags. So if you are looking to buy your first designer bag but not really sure what to get, and you want something that's going to be timeless and classic and versatile and take you from daytime to evening and last you for like 10, 20, 30 years for your whole life, and you can still wear when you're 50 and it's not outdated, this is the video for you, and I hope that you like some of the options that I've pulled together for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. The 5 brands that I'm going to be covering today are Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, and YSL. And the reason that I've decided to go with those 5 brands are because personally for me, I think that these are the most sort of like classic and timeless iconic designer brands. And not to say that I don't love other brands, like I definitely love Celine and Fendi, Prada, lots of other brands, but I do think that they more usually go through phases, especially like brands like Balenciaga. I think they'll have a couple of years where their bags and like their clothes and their shoes are like really hot and everyone's talking about them, buying them, but then in like 5 years, 10 years, or even if it's like a really long time, like 20 years, eventually I do think that they start to sort of phase out. Not to say that if you love those brands that you shouldn't buy those brands, but obviously this list I'm trying to curate for you guys is what I think is going to really go the distance. And when you're spending thousands of dollars on your first designer bag, you want something that you're going to be keeping for life. So in my personal opinion, I think that Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Gucci, and YSL are the 5 brands that typically tend to always stay in season, always stay in fashion, and their bag designs, although they do change and they evolve over the years, and some bag styles will come and go and they won't produce them anymore. Even when you look at a bag from the 90s or something that those 5 brands don't make anymore, the bag is still like very loved and popular and very classic and timeless and still goes with everything. So that is why I'm focusing on those 5 brands. Starting with what is no surprise, my personal favorite brand, Chanel. So I do personally think that Chanel bags are the best sort of investment bags. And I'm not talking about investment like I'm gonna buy them and sell them in a few years and make an uplift, although that does tend to happen with a lot of Chanel bags. I just mean investment from the sense of cost per wear, cost per use. So I think a Chanel bag, even though typically the price points are a lot higher than say a Louis Vuitton or a Dior, and especially higher than like a Gucci or YSL, which tend to be on the lower end, but still obviously thousands of dollars, I do think that a Chanel, even though it costs more, you tend to get a lot more use out of it. So say for example, like I have a Prada bag that still cost me, I think at the time, like a couple of $1,000s, but I've probably worn it half as much as I've worn any of my Chanels. And even though my Chanels maybe cost 2 or 3 times as much as that Prada bag did, I've worn them at least 2 or 3 or 4 times more than I've ever worn those Prada bags, if that makes sense. So Chanel, in my opinion, is the best starter designer brand. I definitely think their bags tend to change the least out of every brand. And you can see that specifically with their classic flap style, which I'll insert a photo of. These bags have been around for years and years and years. Like they're, in my opinion, as iconic and timeless as like a Birkin or a Kelly from Hermes. So the first starter designer bag from Chanel that I recommend is the classic wallet on chain style. I'll insert photos here throughout the video as we're going along. So this bag typically starts, I think in Australia at the moment, at $4,190 from the store. You can buy them pre-loved, and I see them go along the pre-loved market like quite often. It can be hard to find one that's in like the right color that you want or the right condition, but they do pop up all the time. So I think think you don't have to wait too long. And in the pre-love market, I typically see them go for around $3,000 to $4,000. So you can save like $1,000 or a couple of $100 depending on how much you're willing to compromise on like the quality and like how old it is and stuff like that. For those that follow me on Instagram, which is Vivian Vogue, the link is in the description bar below. When I did my Q&A a couple of days ago, I actually got asked what was my first designer bag, and it was the Chanel Classic Wallet on Chain. And the reason I think this is such a great designer bag is because the price point, although yes, all the bags that we're going to talk about in this video are in like the thousands of dollars, and no like $1,000 bag is obviously affordable, but I'm trying to talk about the more affordable designer bags compared to like your $10,000, $14,000 classic flaps and like your $20,000 Birkins and Kellys and stuff like that. So I think for $4,000 in Chanel, you're getting really good price compared to the small classic flaps, the medium classic flaps, which now I think are like in the $11,000, $14,000 range. So for $4,190, you get a bag that really resembles that classic flap style while still getting a really decently sized bag. Although Chanel do have like smaller like vanities and sort of like novelty bags that still might have that classic flap style shape, the wallet on chain is a little bit like roomier and more substantial, I think. The other benefits of the Chanel wallet on chain are that the bag is extremely versatile. So when I bought this as my first designer bag, I loved that you could double the strap and wear it sort of like over the shoulder for like a daytime look, or you could tuck the strap into the bag and hold it as a clutch for like an evening time look if you're going out to like a wedding or formal event. As well as obviously crossbody or on the shoulder. And I do find that the strap on the wallet on chain is quite long, but you can easily shorten that and adjust it to your body size by just using like a ribbon underneath the bag to tie the chain together, or by getting one of those little bag clips, which I featured in a lot of my videos you can watch. I'll leave some links in the description bar below to talk about that mechanism if you're not sure what I'm talking about. And the great thing about Chanel's wallet on chain is that there are so many different colors and styles that it comes in. So personally, for your first designer bag, I would recommend just getting the black on gold caviar like classic quilted version. And I do know that typically a lot of Chanel bags, especially when it comes to like reselling and like investment wise, like if God forbid one day down the line you come into financial problems and you need to start selling bags to get money to pay for emergencies, things pop up, life gets in the way. I do find that black bags with gold hardware tend to sell the easiest and sort of the fastest and get a slightly better return than say like color bags or like black bags with silver hardware. So just something to think about. I would recommend the black with gold classic quilting. That is the most classic bag that looks like you're getting a small or medium large classic flap. If you're not a fan of the classic flap style, which I know a couple of people are, that Chanel do offer their wallet on chain bag in sort of the Chanel 19 style, which I'll insert some photos of, and that actually comes with a really cute little top handle, so that as well makes the bag more versatile. You can hold it top handle or like put it in the nook of your arm. I'm not sure if the chain like fits in the elbow. You can always try that. The bag style also comes in the boy wallet on chain style, the reissue wallet on chain style, and just lots of other like seasonal styles that have like cool straps and like colors. Like they do iridescence, they do literally every color that you can think of. So if you don't want your first bag to be black or white, like you want something really fun like a red or a pink or a blue or a purple, they always do release those in the wallet on chain style. So it's only a matter of waiting for when they release the right color that you're after. Whilst the Chanel wallet on chain is probably their most value for money like entry-level bag, and I would recommend that for like 9 out of 10 people looking for their first bag and especially their first Chanel, I do think that if you're able to save up that little bit more, you are much better off getting a mini rectangular. So these bags are proper bags. The wallet on chain, whilst it is a bag, it still typically is considered a small leather good, and it is a wallet on a chain. So when you get it, the bag is like very thin. I'll see if I can find some photos where you can see the side, but it's not very large. Like although you can fit like a phone inside, and when I used to use mine a lot, I would put like a phone power bank inside, and like you can like make it a little bit wider. It is really small and doesn't fit everything that I used to want to travel with, so that was slightly annoying. So I think that if you can save up a little bit more, you're much better off getting a mini rectangular. The reason being that these are proper bags. So when you look at the mini rectangular from the front or from the side, it doesn't look like it's just a wallet attached to a chain, or that it's a vanity bag or like a novelty bag. It looks like a real bag, if that makes sense. I also personally am much more of a fan of the shape of the rectangular than the square, but if you prefer the square, then I think they're like $100 cheaper than the rectangular, so you could also opt for that. This, I think, if you can save up the money, is ideally what I would recommend as the first designer Chanel bag, because it is literally the closest bag that you can get to a small classic flap, which in my opinion is the ultimate designer bag. So say for example, if money isn't a problem and we're just talking pie in the sky, like if you can only have one bag for your whole life, money doesn't matter, what would you get? I would recommend everybody gets a small classic flap. It's my favorite bag ever. I would rather have like 10 small classic flaps than even just one Birkin or Kelly, and that's just me personally. I know some people prefer Hermes. I'm just a Chanel girl and that's what appeals to me, and I think just works a lot better. In my opinion, the classic flap works from day to night. Like I see so many people wear the small classic flap for evening looks, for wedding looks, for galas and formals. But the Kelly and the Birkin, in my opinion, just don't transition as nicely to like a really formal evening bag. People do wear them and they're gorgeous bags, but I just think that the classic flap works and it's a bit more versatile. You can wear it crossbody, you can wear it on the shoulder, you can wear it handheld, you can wear it under the shoulder. So if you could only have one bag for your whole life, that is the bag that I would go for above a Birkin or a Kelly, personally. Which is why, without spending the new like $11,000 price tag that the small classic flap is priced at in Australia, I would say spend $6,250 to get the mini rectangular, which is essentially a carbon copy of it on a smaller size. The other great thing about the mini rectangular is they also do them in so many different colors and leathers and shades and hardwares and sort of like styles every single year. So if you're not looking for a black with gold, which is what I would recommend for a first bag, it's just a matter of waiting until they release something that you like. Mini rectangulars do also pop up on the pre-love market, so if you're not looking to spend $6,000 from store, you can get them cheaper. It does depend what you're looking for. For example, the black with gold, which I think is the most classic style and what I would recommend for a first bag, because it is so in high demand and everybody wants them, on the pre-love market they actually tend to sell for more than what they do at store, just because the stock is so limited. So I don't think that you can get a cheaper black with gold mini rectangular than for the store price. Usually when I see them on the resale market or the second-hand market, they're sitting more between like $6,500, $6,900, which is a couple $100 more than from store. So you're better off getting it from the store if you can bother like waiting for it to come in and you're not on like a tight timeline. But if you are open to like different colors, I see like really fun colors that are still, I think, really wearable, like pink or red, sometimes like a silver or like a blue, and they sometimes go for around $4,000 to $5,000 Australian. So you can save some money if you're a little bit open to the color that you're going home with. And the last bag from Chanel that I would recommend for a first designer bag is some kind of vanity or like novelty bag that's smaller than the wallet on chain. Those that are subscribed to my YouTube would have seen my recent 22p unboxing of a Chanel classic flap style vanity bag, and I would recommend sticking to bags sort of within the classic flap style. And Chanel have a bunch of these that typically go for around like $2,800 to $3,800. So again, you're about $1,000 or a couple $100 cheaper than the wallet on chain, and definitely a couple $1,000 cheaper than the mini rectangular bag, while you're still retaining that kind of classic flap look. The only downside to these sort of like vanities and novelty bags is that they can be quite small. Like most of the time they're micro bags. I have seen some larger ones that are like rectangular or circular, and they do seem to fit a little bit more in them. I would recommend going to stores so that you can try and see. I wouldn't just buy a bag just because of the price. Like if all you can afford is a $3,000 bag, which is a lot of money, I wouldn't just go for a $3,000 Chanel bag just so you can have a Chanel bag if it doesn't actually fit the things and like work the way that you would want to use it every day, if that makes sense. So like if you're not somebody who wears a bag that's like that, I wouldn't get it just because it's in your price range. You're better off, I would say, going with some of the other options I'm going to go through in this video from another designer that's maybe in that price range, but actually the bag style is more suited to your life, if that makes sense. But like I said, these vanities can be a little more of a entry-level price point, looking at the $2,800 to $3,800. And again, a lot of them do come in a classic flap kind of appearance style. So those are the 3 recommendations that I would make for your first starter bag from Chanel. After Chanel, the second brand that I would recommend for a first designer bag is Louis Vuitton. And all these bags I'm recommending, I would say to try get them in the monogram print. The reason being, again, just the longevity and sort of the legacy and history of the bag. As we know, Louis Vuitton has been around for years and years and years, and while the bags change, the styles change, one thing that has never changed is the monogram print. Whether it's a bag that they made 50 years ago or a bag that they made last year, they still largely offer options in the monogram print. So again, it just comes back to cost per use and timelessness of the bag, and sort of trying to project how many years into the future you're going to be able to have this bag and wear this bag without it going out of style. So the first bag from Louis Vuitton that I would recommend is their mini pochette. So this bag in Australia at the moment, it's just over $1,000, and it is like a micro bag. It's actually not considered a bag, and I think most people use them as an SLG within their own bags, as like a mini purse or like a bag organizer to put like their headphones in, or like some hand sanitizer in, or their mask and stuff like that. That's how I like to use mine. But I have also seen people that buy sort of straps that you can get from Louis Vuitton, or you can buy them on Etsy or eBay or Amazon or wherever you like to get your bag straps, and you can make them fit over your shoulder or crossbody. So if you're okay with having like a really small micro bag, I do think that the mini pochette is a really good option, especially because they do resell quite well even when they're quite used. Again, if you're open to the pre-loved market, I think that you can get these bags. I see them pop up every now and then. If you're happy to get one that's quite used, still in good condition, but like quite old, it might not come with all of its packaging. I have seen some go for about $600 to $700, but similar to the Chanel mini rectangle, if you're looking for a pre-loved one that's like pristine and has the full package, it typically sells above retail price, because these bags are actually very hard to get from store and often have a very long wait list. After the mini pochette, the next bag that I recommend from Louis Vuitton is one that I have and I use all the time and I love, and it is the Nano Speedy. This bag in Australia is just under $2,000 at the moment, so definitely on the lower end for sort of an entry-level designer bag, and I love my Nano Speedy. It actually fits a lot inside of it, even though it's called a nano bag. Like, mine fits my full-size wallet in it, my phone, like a phone charger, my headphones, like it really fits a lot in it. So even though it is a nano bag, I think that because it's in the monogram print, it's super classic, the style is really cute, and it works crossbody, on the shoulder. I do think it's a more casual everyday bag. I've never worn mine for like an evening look, but I think like for work or for travel, or just like weekends and stuff like that, it's a great option that goes with so many different outfits. Similar to the Nano Speedy, I think if you are looking for a larger everyday bag, and this thing, a lot of people have different lifestyles, and like for me, like mini micro bags work because I really do not carry a lot with me when I go out, and often when I go out, if I can't be bothered bringing a bag, I'll literally just bring my wallet and hold my wallet or put it in my pocket. So micro bags aren't a deterrent for me. But if you are someone who needs a bigger bag, and you know, like you always have to leave the house with a drink bottle, or if you have kids, you always need to have like nappies on you and like wet wipes, then from Louis Vuitton, I would recommend anything from their Speedy range. So these bags, I think, come in the sizes 20, 25, 30, and 35, which is how many centimeters across the front they are. And these bags again come in like the classic Louis Vuitton monogram, the Damier Ebene, which is the brown and black sort of checkered print, and the Damier Azur, which is like the white and blue checkered print. I would personally recommend the monogram print, just because again, the monogram print from Louis Vuitton has lasted the test of time, and I don't see it ever going out anytime in the future. Even 50 years from now, people will be wearing monogram bags, and I think that they'll be really stylish. And these Speedy bags, depending on the size that you want, because they do get slightly more expensive the bigger they get, I think range from about $2,100 to like $2,800. It's not a bag style that I've personally really looked into a lot, so I could be slightly off with that pricing, but I think that's roughly the range that they're sitting in. The last two Louis Vuitton bags that I would recommend for your first designer bag would be the pochette accessories, which in Australia I think is about $1,800 at the moment, and comes in the beautiful monogram print. It's just like a classic under the arm pochette style. You can wear it under the arm, handheld, or if you want, you can add like a longer strap to it so it fits like sort of over the shoulder or crossbody. This is a super classic bag, and I think one that lasts the test of time. I know people that got this as their first designer bag when they were like coming into like 18, 19, 20, and now they're like 30, 40, and they still use this bag all the time. So I really think that it like lasts your whole life, and if you take care of them, it's bags that you can hand down to your kids and your grandkids. And the last bag I would recommend, again, for people that know that they need like bigger bags, or if you're looking for a bag that you can use for work that fits your laptop, or like you want for travel, I would recommend the Neverfull. The price starts at about $2,800, I think, from store. But I will say, pre-loved, I see this bag sell for like $1,500, which is basically half the price that you get from store. So you can really save a lot of money on this bag if you're happy to go pre-loved. This bag again comes in, I think, 2 sizes or maybe 3 sizes. There's like a mini, there's like the MM, the PM, and the GM. I think I haven't really looked into this style. It's not one that I own. But if you're looking for like a work bag that fits your laptop in it, if you have kids and you know you need to carry nappies and wet wipes, or if you want a bag that you can use for travel, the Neverfull is a really popular bag, and I've seen people use it for years and years, and it holds up really well. And I think in the monogram print especially, definitely lasts the test of time. So those are the bags that I would recommend to start your first designer bag journey with Louis Vuitton. Moving on to Dior. So the first bag style that I would recommend from this brand is again in their wallet on chain sort of range. So at Dior, I've seen that they do like saddles on chain. So for those that don't know, this is Dior's really iconic saddle bag. It's a vintage bag that actually used to be really popular in the past, and that they've recently brought back in the last 5-6 years or so, I think. And re-released, and it's gone crazy again. So you can get the saddle bag in a wallet on chain style. They also do, I don't know if it's the Lady Dior, but they have sort of just like more classic like rectangular size that aren't in the saddle shape and just have like a CD or have like a little push and pull sort of mechanism to lock it. And these wallet on chain bags from Dior price roughly, from my understanding, around $2,000 to $4,000, depending on sort of the leather you want, the color you want, and the style you want. The great thing again about wallet on chains is how versatile they are. So most of them do come with a strap that you can sometimes detach. I think the ones at Dior, unlike the Chanel ones where they're actually attached to the bag and you can't get them off, you can tuck them into the bag but you can't remove it. I think that the ones at Dior are actually clip on and clip off. So if you wanted to, you could clip it off and then just hold it as a clutch. You could clip it off and use it as a wallet inside another bag, or you can clip it on, hold it over the shoulder, crossbody, double wrap it, put it under the arm. So many different ways you can wear wallet on chains, which is why I think wallet on chains from every brand, and every brand does have their own sort of range of wallet on chain bags, are the most popular sort of first designer bag option. For those looking to spend a little bit more money and want something really classic, I do think the best bag from Dior is the Lady Dior. My personal favorite size is the mini. This bag is so expensive now though, it's like $7,000. So even though the price range probably isn't in like a first designer bag sort of price range, I do think if your money isn't an object and you're just looking for your first designer bag and you want it to be from Dior and you want it to be the one bag that you have for life, I do think that the mini Lady Dior is one that is just stunning. People use it for decades. It resells, to be honest, like not as good as a Chanel. Like I see lots of mini Lady Dior's like resell for $4,000, $5,000, which is significantly under the retail price, unlike Chanel's where they sometimes resell for even over the retail price. Bag styles I would recommend from Dior are the saddle, the 30 Montaigne, the book tote, and the Cairo bag. So these are all classic bags that have been at Dior for a couple of years now, and personally, like just when I look at them, I see them as bags that people will use and love for years to come, and will still be really popular. And again, there's often a variety of these available on the resale market. They come in lots of different colors, leathers, hardwares, sometimes even like printed patterns if that's what you're after. So those are the bag styles I would recommend looking into Dior. So now that we've covered what I personally consider to be the top 3 designer brands, Chanel, LV, and Dior, which are my like holy trinity, and I think almost any bag from these 3 designers you can't go wrong. Like you'll have it for life, the quality is there, they like usually don't have a hard time reselling depending on the style, but really anything from those 3 brands typically you can resell and get most if not all of your money back. Now we're going to move on to the 2 more contemporary designers that I've rounded up, which are Gucci and YSL. So starting with YSL, I actually think that YSL is a great brand for designer bags, or even if you're just looking for fashionable bags. They definitely still are a very high-end luxury brand, but the prices typically are like a fraction of those of like the Chanel's or the Louis Vuittons or the Dior's. Like most of the bags at YSL, and I haven't shopped there for quite a while, so I could be off, but I'm pretty sure most of their bags are really in like that $3,000 to $4,000 range, whereas at Chanel, like their bags are in like the $6,000 to $15,000 price range. So for a brand that has like a very similar sort of luxury sort of appeal to it, and like the history and like the heritage, and is still like based in France, you can get a really nice bag for a fraction of the price of another designer. So again, I think the most popular brand style from YSL are their wallet on chains. They have a really classic popular one that I see a lot of people buy for their first designer bag, and actually this was one of, I think, my sister's first designer bags, if I'm not mistaken. It's called the Uptown Wallet on Chain, and it's essentially like a little envelope wallet on chain that has like the chevron sort of leather print, which is similar to Chanel's classic quilting. So at Chanel, their really classic sort of style is the classic quilting, where, you know, it's like the crisscross. At Dior, it's called the canage, which is sort of the quilting, but it's got little like circles in it. And at YSL, it's the chevron, are sort of the patterns that are really synonymous with that brand. So this Uptown Wallet on Chain from YSL has the really classic quilted sort of chevron print. And I think the pricing typically ranges from about $1,750 to $1,950, so under the $2,000 range, which is obviously a little bit more affordable for that first designer bag. And the thing that I love about these bags is that the leather is so sturdy. So YSL, on a lot of their bags, and especially on their wallet on chains, they use like a really tough grained leather, and I have, like, when I've used these bags, I've like scratched my keys against them, I've dropped them, and there's like no dents, there's no scratches, there's no color marks, because they are like a really fine grained caviar leather. So if you're looking for a first designer bag that's going to go the distance, you're going to have for years, that you don't have to baby and be precious with, I do think this is a great option. Also, again, really versatile. You can wear crossbody, on the shoulder, under the arm, or tuck the chain inside the bag and hold it as a clutch, or you could even use it as a wallet inside another actual bag. Another popular wallet on chain style from YSL that I would recommend for first designer bag is the Kate Tussle one. This is priced slightly more expensive, I think at the $2,100 price range. And this bag has been within YSL for like 10 plus years. Like, I remember being in high school and girls were like pining after this bag and like renting them for like our formals and like graduation and stuff. And even now, like 10 years later, like it's still such a popular bag that people love. And if you're not a fan of the tassel on the Kate bag, they do have non-tassel versions that I think are like $100 or $200 cheaper. So that's another option as well. Moving away from the wallet on chain styles, I think the two bag styles from YSL I would recommend for a first designer bag are the camera bag. And again, these come in mostly the chevron leather sort of pattern, which is very iconic to YSL and sort of like a YSL heritage sort of symbol, I guess, if you want to call it that. And they're very generous in their size. So I actually have had this bag, and I have quite a few friends and family that have this bag, and they use it for travel because it fits like a passport. You can fit like a mini drink bottle in it, you can fit your phone charger, like headphones, all that stuff in here. It's a great weekend bag. It's just a very versatile bag. These YSL camera bags I think are priced around $2,100, obviously plus minus a couple hundred depending on like if you're going for the medium size, or I think there's a larger size that's also available, and depending on what color and leather. I think all of the leathers for these camera bags are lambskin. However, they are quite a sturdy lambskin. I think that these bags are great for travel because they have a zip. You don't have to worry about things falling out, and it's obviously very hard for someone to sort of just like push open like a button or like a lock and get it. Like, it's a lot harder to undo a whole zip, which is why I see these as really good travel bags, really good weekend bags. They're really casual, they go with everything, and if you get like a black with gold, again, like I think it will go with any outfit, any style, no matter what you wear. And the last bag from YSL that I would recommend for someone starting their collection is the Lulu puffer bag. These come, I think, in 3 sizes. There's the toy Lulu, the medium or the small Lulu, and then the large Lulu. And these bags I think are just super cute, super versatile. I actually see these work really well from day to night. And again, sitting in that about $2,300 to $2,800 range, I think, depending on the size and sort of the color that you go for. But those are the recommendations I have for you for YSL. And lastly, we move on to Gucci. So again, starting with the wallet on chain styles, there's only one wallet on chain sort of range that I know from Gucci is quite popular and that I personally would recommend to you guys as a first designer bag, because it is a style that I see lasting the distance and like you'll wear in years to come and still love. And I don't know how to pronounce this, so excuse me if I get it wrong, but I say the Dionysus. This is what it looks like, and these bags, from my understanding, range from about $1,800 to like $2,100. So again, that more affordable price range, which all wallet on chain bags from any designer will always sort of be their entry level price range for a bag. Specifically with the Dionysus, I know I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, I would recommend the Gucci like sort of logo print. I'll insert a photo of that. I don't know what it's called, but that's the exact bag that I would recommend if you're looking at this style from Gucci. I think that that's sort of the most classic look. They do have them though in lots of different colors. They even have them sometimes in like patterns and prints and stuff. But again, looking at like a first designer bag that you're putting obviously a lot of money into to start your collection, I think that this is the best one that would really sort of go with everything and not go out of style in a couple of years. The next two designer bags from Gucci that I recommend are actually probably their most popular like entry-level designer bags that I see most people buy, and they are the Soho Disco bag and the Gucci Marmont like camera bag. So I'll insert photos of those. The Soho Disco bag, these are actually very similar, which is why I've decided to sort of lump them together, because they've just got that sort of square rectangular shape with the long strap and like a zip. So the Soho Disco bag, from my understanding, is priced around $1,800, whereas the Marmont camera bag I think is around $2,300. So there is a little bit of difference in the price, and really I think either of these bags are great. It just depends on what your style is and what you prefer. I do think that the Gucci Soho Disco has a really cool sort of like vintage and like 90s and early 2000s vibe to it, which is like really popular at the moment, and obviously might not always be this popular, but I do see that style sort of come back all the time. These two bags from Gucci, in my opinion, I think are the most popular starter designer bags from any brand. Like majority of my friends or like people I've spoken to, when they're buying their first designer bag, it's usually one of these two, and I think it's because they're really versatile, they're really timeless, they come in lots of different colors, and they're a really good size, so you can fit them, like you can fit a lot in them and use them for a lot of uses such as travel, weekends, stuff like that. However, that might actually turn you off if you're looking for a bag that you don't want every other person to have, which personally for me is definitely a thing. Like I like to have my own style and wear things my own way, and even if I have something that everybody else has, like I want to wear it differently to how everyone else is wearing it, and I don't really like having bags that a lot of other people have, which is why the bags that I go for are usually a little bit more quirky and like cool and like color and different, just because I don't like having what everyone else has. So if that is sort of a factor for you when deciding what bag you want, these two might not be for you, because they are quite popular. But to be fair, they are popular for a reason, and I think it's because they're really versatile, they're long lasting, they're really good value, and it's from a good brand that will never go out of fashion. Looking sort of at the next price bracket up, the bag that I would recommend is the Gucci Marmont in the full style. So we talked about the Gucci Marmont camera bag, and now we're talking about the Gucci Marmont full style, so full size bag. So this bag, from my understanding, is around $3,500, $3,800, I think. Again, not really, like Gucci's not really a brand that I shop at, so I can't give you like the exact dollar figure of a lot of their bags. But I do know that these bags, the Gucci Marmont, come in lots of different colors, and again, like some seasons they'll do like patterns and prints, so if that's kind of your vibe, then you can just wait till they release something that you like. Although this isn't a bag that works with my personal style, I do see it as a bag that works really with like a lot of different outfits, and again could go from day to night. I see a lot of people wear these bags to like weddings or like formals and events, as well as like to work and like weekend brunches and travel again. So it is a really versatile bag, and when you're looking for your first designer bag, you're obviously spending thousands and want to be able to wear the bag in as many occasions and scenarios as possible, so I think that's a really good option. And the last bag to round us out that I would recommend from Gucci is the Jackie bag. This is actually my favorite bag from Gucci, and it's actually a bag that I've considered getting, but just always gets pushed back by the Chanel bags I can't seem to stop buying. But the Jackie bag is actually a vintage bag by Gucci that was really popular years and years and years ago, and similar to how Dior brought back the saddle bag, Gucci have brought back the Jackie bag. And so I do think that when brands sort of recreate or re-release these vintage style bags, that is a really good sign of sort of the longevity of the bag, that's obviously already been around for 30, 40, 50 years, sometimes longer, and it's been popular enough and sort of stayed relevant enough that they've re-released it again, sometimes in a slightly different size dimension, or they've changed the hardware around it, or just done new colors. So the Jackie bag, from my understanding at Gucci, sits around $3,500, and I think that it comes with, it's just got the normal like sort of top handle, and I'm not sure if they do have sort of like a longer detachable strap. Again, like I said, not really a bag that I've looked into, but that is my personal favorite bag from Gucci at the moment, a bag that I would definitely look into getting, and one that I think, based on the history of the bag being vintage and popular enough, they've brought back a bag that you can sort of bank on lasting like the next 50, 60 years of your life. So I know we covered lots of different bags from 5 brands, Chanel, LV, Dior, Gucci, and YSL. I hope that you guys like that. I really hope that this video was helpful for you guys. If you did like it, please leave a comment and a like below. I would really appreciate that. If you didn't like it, then leave a comment telling me what could have been better so that I can better serve you guys with these videos. Again, if you haven't already connected with me on Instagram and TikTok, it is Vivian Vogue. I'll leave the links in the description bar below, and I hope to see you guys there. If not, then I'll see you on YouTube again with my next video. Thank you.